Welcome to the audio tour for Through the Looking Glass, The Art of Roger Bowman. The content for this audio tour is provided by the exhibition catalog essay, Through the Looking Glass, written by Jean Coles. Jean Coles is an independent consultant who does writing, design, and project management for museums and the culture sector in New England. RB 171 Yo-Yo. Lewis Carroll's Mad Hatter famously declared, "If I had a world of my own, everything would be nonsense. Nothing would be what it is, because everything would be what it isn't. And contrariwise, what it is, it wouldn't be, and what it wouldn't be, it would. You see? When we fall into the rabbit hole of Roger Bowman's Wonderland, we glimpse just such an upside-down universe. Unnaturally lit, hyperbolically colored, seasonally incongruous landscapes host impossible still lifes populated by a remarkable lexicon of objects, as seen in Yo-Yo, RB 171. Bowman reconciles arbitrary collections of incompatible things and harmonizes conflated time by masterfully composing the picture plane and by drawing visual and verbal connections between objects and their backdrops. RB 180, Drum with Bird Tracks. We have all driven along the highway, seen a lone shoe on the side of the road, and asked ourselves the rhetorical question, how did that get there? For Bowman, this type of anomaly is a jumping-off point in Drum with Bird Tracks, RB 180, where a lone cowboy boot is more than just a displaced shoe. It is a drumstick holder, a nod to Southern heritage, a canvas to investigate texture, and a neutral foil against vivid vegetal elements. Positioning a real purple clematis next to the yellow floral decoration on the boot, Bowman blurs the lines of truth and artificiality to challenge the incontrovertibility of reality. Vintage objects, like the weathered drum, incorporated out of context, liberate the viewer from strict notions of time and become touch points for interpretation. Bowman loves the artfulness of instruments and often transforms them into chambers for his objects. The drum recalls the artist's childhood musical experiences while describing the material effects of aging. To integrate the past with the present, a now-gone bird has waddled across the ground and left his footprints as evidence of a moment that existed before this picture. Perhaps the unlit firecrackers foretell its future destruction at the hands of whoever decides to pick up the matches the artist provides and strike them. RB 167, Rust and Nails. Visually rich and texturally interesting, rust is also an allegory for the passage of time. In Rust and Nails, RB 167, 3 trompe-l'oeil nails are abandoned on the wall, on the table, and against an equally rusty can. The can, hints of its former life told by the ripped label, has been usurped for a new duty as the receptacle for a vibrantly alive flower. Bowman understands the Japanese aesthetic of wabi-sabi, the beauty of imperfection, and embraces the blemishes wrought by time. But where wabi-sabi is austere, Bowman is intense, palpably expressing texture like the papery garlic skin, whose growing shoots indicate that it too has passed its prime, the striated wood walls, and the brilliantly hued flower petals. RB 189, Music Box, and RB 176, Sunset. Bowman often incorporates flowers and fruit into his work because they are compelling combinations of shape, tone, texture, and symbolism. As a metaphor for fertility, flora evokes the constancy of the birth, growth, death cycle and allows Bowman to present time in perpetual motion. In Music Box, RB 189, fecund eggplants overflow from and fill the bosom of a dress form whose saffron yellow body reflects the sunset over the marshland. An oversized flowering plant is the easel for a ripe orange, which supplants the sun as the source of the picture's resplendent glow. Sunset, RB 176, similarly buzzes with energy, and as with Music Box, layers of nonsensical objects magically integrate seamlessly together. A warped box teems with bulbous red fruits, whose uniformity is humorously interrupted by a womanly purple plum and two staring olive eyeballs. With this already full box blooms an antique trumpet horn, itself a nest for two small birds. Bowman is fascinated by birds, especially diminutive ones like wrens and hummingbirds, because they are exquisitely formed and move with fleet and grace. The trumpet provides a more intriguing and protective shelter than the finger-like tendrils of the barren tree branches. Bowman is not limited by one season, but instead pairs winter's leafless trees with spring's earthy buds and summer's full bushes in the geography of his imagination. Where does the path in this work take us, if not away from a reality that is defined by time or season and into the recesses of the dream world? As Lewis Carroll wrote, "If you don't know where you are going, any road will get you there." RB 188, Drum Nest. Many of Bowman's motifs are autobiographical and refer to his childhood, to the land of his native Arkansas, and to his everyday experiences. They simultaneously reflect universal notions such as the transitory nature of life, the beauty of objects, and places that have been used and loved. For example, the drum in Drum Nest, RB 188, perhaps once loved by a child, now serves as a nest for a bird's eggs, and the way that we strive to solve the unanswered questions, big and small, that confront us every day. Bowman peers through the looking glass and reveals what he sees, while the work's bounteous visual offerings tickle our creativity in an inviting game of interpretation. For Bowman, the possibility of our making multiple meanings out of his alternate universe is one of the most exciting parts about making art.